To create a schedule, right-click the device or a folder under the device and select Create Object. Give it an appropriate name, and then click Create. Now click the new schedule in the tree to open it. The first thing you'll want to do is switch to the Properties tab and specify which properties this schedule will control. You do this by dragging the objects or properties from the tree. The properties can be right-clicked to edit or delete them from the list. Next, we need to set the default value for the schedule. This is the value that will be sent to the properties if the schedule is not currently active. Schedules default to using active and inactive as their values. In this case, we want to change a temperature set point, so we need to change it to use what is called a real value. This just means it is a floating point number. I'll set it to 78. Now we can define the normal weekly hours. Notice that as the mouse is moved over the schedule, information is displayed in the header bar. To define a time period, just click on the starting time and drag the mouse to the ending time. Multiple days can be included. Now type the value the set points should have during this time period and click OK. If the mouse is hovered over the time markers, it will show the time and the value for that marker. To change the time, just drag the marker. Notice that the time changes by 5 minutes at a time. To change it by 1 minute at a time, hold the Control key while dragging. Right-clicking on the schedule will display a menu with several options. In this case, we want to copy Monday's hours to some other days of the week. Right-clicking on a time marker will show some selections specific to the marker. The time can be more precisely defined if necessary, or the value can be changed. The time period deleted, all time periods for that day, or the entire weekly schedule can be cleared. Multiple time periods with the same or different values can be defined for each day. For example, the set points could be set to 75 from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. while the cleaning crew is working. Let's just stick with the normal hours for now. And we need to save these changes. As you can see, the value of the schedule is now 74 since Thursday at 11:42 a.m. falls within an active time period. Let's change Thursday's hours so that the current time no longer falls within it. Save the changes. And now the schedule value is 78, which is the schedule default we set on the Properties tab. Now let's look at how to temporarily override the schedule value. The schedule must first be taken out of service. Now the value can be manually changed. Anytime the schedule value changes, that new value is sent to all properties we drag to the property list, in this case, the 2 set points. The value will stay 72 until we manually change it or put the schedule back in service. Let's do that now. And the normal schedule value takes over. The effective period can be set to limit when this schedule is enabled. If only a starting date is set, the schedule will be disabled until that date, but then be enabled forever. If only an ending date is set, the schedule will be enabled from now until that date, then disabled forever. If both are set, it will only be enabled between those dates, then disabled forever. Exception periods are used anytime the schedule needs to deviate from the normal weekly hours. To create an exception, click the Add icon. For each exception, you can either specify the dates or make the exception reference a calendar object. For this example, let's use the holidays calendar created in an earlier video. The priority value controls which exceptions take precedence when they overlap. It can usually be left at 16. Let's take a look at the holidays calendar created earlier. It is set to be active on December 25th and January 1st through the 5th. It is important to note here that the BACnet specification requires that any time of day not covered by a time period, here in the exception, will default back to the normal weekly schedule value. If this is not the desired effect, be sure to set the value you want at midnight all the way to the left. And make sure every part of the day is included in a time period. In this case, the building is unoccupied, so we just need a value at midnight that will remain for the entire day. Now let's go add today to the holidays calendar to test it out. Calendars are covered in their own video, so check that out if you haven't already. We need to save the changes. And the exception period is taken over and set the value to 80. Let's remove today from the holiday calendar so we'll get back to the regular weekly schedule value.